Thank you for joining us, Diederick Stopforth. You are from Skynet Worldwide Express. I believe that you're the South African commercial executive. Thank you so much for your time to join us while we talk about everything in the delivery space. But something that is very interesting that you've noticed there in South Africa, and we've actually taken note in Australia and around the world, is what you're doing with those dead time. And you've mentioned that when people go to a gym, for instance, that is such an opportunity for people to get their delivery of their parcels. It's a dead time, basically. Just tell us more about the way that you're thinking about delivering some of these parcels to people, bringing it to them where they are, when they know they're going to be at least 3 times a day. If you gym, at least 3 times a week, I mean.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, one has to continuously innovate in the last mile delivery leg. And South Africa is very unique in many ways. So what Skynet has set out to do is to say, how can we really raise the bar and how can we differentiate ourselves from all the other last mile delivery options? And how can we do it in the best interest of the person receiving the shipment? So in the business to consumer market, we kind of look at the consumer's daily routines and we said, wait a minute, part of their daily routine is some people wake up early in the morning, 4:30, and they go to gym. So instead of looking for them during the day, one of the options that we've got in our omni-channel delivery solution is to deliver to a locker system that is installed inside a gym or in close proximity of the gym in a shopping center, by way of example, so that you don't have to go look for the consumer during the day. It makes the consumer more productive. It makes our drivers more productive in that we can then use the delivery time to deliver to business deliveries and try and find the consumers. Then we've also partnered with ADT, who's owned by Fidelity Security, using the 2,000 armed response officers that are already in those areas that can deliver beyond 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they can deliver to up to 7, 8 o'clock at night, should the consumer be willing for us to deliver that late. Also serves as a bit of a security barrier, which differentiates us from some of the other delivery options that's out in the market. The consumer feels a lot more secure. You would have seen in the media and elsewhere the amount of armed robberies specifically when the vehicles are in the driveways. And so we believe that will also reduce the amount of security risks that perhaps the consumers and other people will face.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because that is also unique to South Africa. I mean, our Australian, audience won't understand why do you need an entire security van, ADT, to accompany just a van full of parcels. I mean, that is something that I've personally reported to when in mainstream media, where these vans have been targeted by specific groups, knowing that there are important belongings inside. But I believe that has now stopped a little bit. But how crucial is it to secure the safety of these vans, and especially at night? If you can just explain that context.
Sure. Look, Mia, it hasn't really stopped. In fact, it's got worse. The stats out there, Yusuf Abranji ran some stats. He's a bit of a crime fighter, as we know. And according to his stats, not our stats, but his stats and some industry stats, there's 20 to 25 hijackings per day just in the Gauteng area across all courier companies. So we said we can't just accept that. We have to innovate around that. Once again, just like we had to innovate around using dead time when people are at gym, how do we deliver to the consumers when it's convenient for them to actually receive the parcel, when it is a bit of a dead time? So how do we maximize the productivity of the consumer and in so doing fix one of our own problems? We've partnered with Fidelity to move all the cell phones and laptops and high-value items in bulk, to take that away from our normal Skynet vehicles. That's number one. Number two, we partnered with ADT and said, how can you deliver some of these cell phone orders for us a lot more securely? Because these ADT vehicles will deliver the actual parcel. So it's not like they will accompany a Skynet vehicle into the last mile delivery. They will actually physically do the delivery, once again using our technology, giving our clients and consumers information and parcel updates. And as soon as the parcel is delivered, there will be proof of delivery. But in Gauteng and in the country, it is a big problem, and which is why we've no longer accepted it. We don't want to continue doing the same thing. We've innovated around that, and that's why we've partnered with ADT and Fidelity to help us do the deliveries. In the Fidelity case, for example, we deliver all the bulk phone orders in a cash and transit vehicles it's got military armor spec, with armored vehicles, with cameras, with all sorts of other technology, which I don't want to go into for obvious reasons, to make sure that our clients' parcels are delivered securely. We've got case studies showing that some of our clients that previously were not clients, the insurance companies have completely stopped giving them insurance because of the amount of hijackings and incidents that's taken place. In our 2 or 3 case studies or user cases that we've got, since we've moved it into a fidelity type of solution, we've had, touch wood, absolutely no clients' parcels compromised. Clients can now procure insurance again, because the risk has just about disappeared. There's always going to be risk. You can't 100% remove it, but certainly in the 3 user cases that we've got, we've showed that we've completely stopped the robberies of cell phones in bulk.
Sure, that's such a game changer, to where you can now safely deliver these cell phones. Obviously, it's criminals know that it's high in demand, and just hijacking one of those vehicles, they literally hit a jackpot. Is it only for retailers and big companies, or would that also be delivery to homes, or what do you do for that last mile delivery of these cell phones, for instance?
So also a very important point for us is we didn't just do this for the sake of solving an obvious problem in the market. We also did it because we care about our drivers. You cannot put drivers in harm's way. You put them in a soft skin vehicle with a whole lot of bulk cell phone, where you carry 2, 3, 4 million rands worth of risk, and offer the driver absolutely no protection. You're playing with people's lives here. So we also did it because it's the right thing to do. We care about our drivers. We care about our owner drivers and our delivery partners out there, which is why we did that. So some of the bulk movement of high-value items in and between provinces, we also do in cash in transit vehicles, so that we don't put our drivers in harm's way. And then to my earlier point, in terms of the last mile delivery, we use ADT, who has a certain level of security protection already. They've got bulletproof windows, they've got bulletproof doors, they are armed themselves, and they're in an area where at any given time there's always 2 or 3 or 4 other security backup groups that will help them. In the case of Fidelity, just to kind of put it in context, they're South Africa's biggest security company. They've got 60,000 staff, they've got 4 or 5 helicopters. So even that is another layer of security that the Syndicates are aware of, and so they'll rather continue targeting vehicles that does not have this layer of security. For us, it is a game changer. So this service is available for the big retailers out there that send high value shipments, but also to those that have e-commerce sites where people order just single cell phones and single laptops. Because what some of these syndicates are doing is that they place a fictitious order, knowing that when this vehicle, normal standard vehicle, arrives there is a possibility of that vehicle carrying 20 or 30 other high value items. And so they use that opportunity then to pounce on the vehicle and then, obviously, take the loot, which is why we've partnered with ADT and moving this high value items outside of our mainstream or away from our mainstream delivery vehicles. We also don't want to compromise other shipments, because inevitably what happens is someone has now written an exam that now has to be delivered back to a university or an exam center. And because there happens to now be high value cell phones in bulk in that vehicle with some exams, the hijackers don't just take the phones, they take all of the loot, and later on they will go through what they need and they'll dispose of that they don't need. Now you've compromised the whole exam, either unwritten or written exam. So we've also done it for that reason, making sure that we don't compromise our other clients' freight that's in the vehicle. So it serves as a kind of, firstly, to make sure that we look after our drivers, and their life is important to us. We've solved an industry problem. We've reduced insurance costs. We've helped, provide a safer delivery to the final consumer and to the retail outlet out there. And in most cases, Fidelity already does the security at all these shopping centers. So by the time our cash and transit vehicle arrives, they've got their specialized intervention unit and all shopping center security that comes in with that delivery driver. When they do the delivery, there's another 4 or 5 security personnel that accompanies them to the final delivery point, which for us is a game changer. We've got so many people contacting us now. We are slowly but surely saying, wait, let's just first implement it, one client at a time. But for us, it's a game changer. And to your point, it's very unique to South Africa.
Absolutely. Each country has their own uniqueness, right? Thank you so much, Diederick. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for your insight. Yeah, that is a wrap then. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to chat to you soon just about your expertise in this field. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity, Mia. All the best.